In this video, you're going to learn how to maintain your confidence following a bad game. Hey there, I'm Eli Straw, mental performance coach and the founder of SuccessStartsWithin.com. Now before we get into the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're an athlete looking to improve your mental game. I put out new videos each day on sports psychology and mental training. Now after you have a bad game, it's very easy to allow your confidence to drop, because what you're focused on is the fact that you just had a really bad game. Number one, you're going to be frustrated, but then also you're going to start to doubt yourself, and you might even start to fear having another bad game moving forward. But if you allow your confidence to drop because of one bad game, that's going to increase your chances of having another bad game. And then what happens is, if your confidence dropped a little bit from that one bad game, if you have another bad game, it's going to drop even worse. And then you find yourself in this downward spiral where your confidence plummets and you have a bunch of bad games in a row, and then you're kind of trying to figure out, how can I get out? So what we want to make sure is that following a bad game, you recognize the importance of focusing on maintaining your confidence. And so what you want to make sure that you're doing is applying specific tools and strategies that you can use to really work on maintaining and keeping this confidence at a high level. So what we're going to do is we're going to break this up into two different ways that you can work on maintaining your confidence. The first one is going to be an evaluation exercise, and then the second one is going to be just some tips that you can use immediately following the game. So let's start with an evaluation exercise. Following a game, you want to be applying post-performance questions. You want to be doing this not just when you have a bad game, but every single game. The reason this works is because it takes the pressure off of a bad game, because a lot of times we tend to focus more on bad games than we do on good games. And so if we know that we're focusing more on this bad game, we're going to be giving more negative energy to that, and that's going to negatively impact your confidence. So on a daily basis or a game-to-game basis, by applying post-performance questions, you really get into the habit of evaluating your performances rather than judging your performances. And so these post-performance questions, there's going to be 4 of them. The first one is going to be, what did I do well today technically? The second one is going to be, what did I do well today mentally? Now, technically, I want you to think about mechanics and any kind of physical aspect to your performance. And then mentally, I want you to think about what you were focused on, kind of what kind of thoughts you were having, how you were feeling, and just your mindset in general. And the reason that you want to do those 2 first is because, number one, you're trying to increase your confidence. And when you have a bad game, it is so easy to only focus on the negatives. And I get it, you had a bad game, so you want to focus on those negatives so that you don't then make those same mistakes moving forward. But when you only focus on those negatives, that really causes you to lower your confidence. So number one, you want to focus on what you did well first, because it's going to increase your confidence. But then also, it puts you in a much better position to then answer the next 2 questions, which are where you're going to look at kind of what you did wrong. But you're not going to ask yourself what I did wrong. The next 2 questions are, where can I improve technically? And then where can I improve mentally? When you start to apply this evaluation process or these post-performance questions after every single game, this allows a bad game to turn into a learning experience, because you're going to apply these tools and you know that no matter how bad the game was, I'm going to pull something away that I can really work on and that I can apply and improve myself moving forward. Now, one thing I will say about these post-performance questions is that sometimes it's best to wait until the next day to answer them. This is especially true if you had a bad game. If you had a really bad game, sometimes the best thing that you can do immediately following that game is to forget about it. Go out with your family, go out with your friends, go get something to eat. Just do whatever you can to forget that game. And then the next day or later that night, if you're feeling better, then you can answer these post-performance questions. Now, if you feel okay to do them right after the game, that's fine too, but don't feel like you have to do them right after the game. You can sometimes give yourself some time, because often that's the best thing that you can do. Now, the second part of this is some tips that you can apply immediately following a game to help make sure that this bad game doesn't really have too much of a negative impact on you. Tip number 1 is you want to pay attention to your self-talk. Now, in this instance, your self-talk is going to refer to the thoughts that you're having, but also the way that you're talking to other people. Because after a bad game, how many times have you said, I played awful today. I suck. I was just terrible. And while that may be true, while you may not have played very well, that's not helping you at all. That's only reaffirming the fact that you didn't play well and really ingraining this negative feeling in yourself and just lowering your confidence. And you also don't want to be thinking, I played awful today, over and over again. You know that you played bad, so you need to just take what you can from that game, move forward, but you can't keep harping on the fact that you played badly, because what that's doing is it's lowering your confidence. So instead, you want to pay attention to what you're saying, and you want to change what you're saying. So instead of saying, I'm an awful player, I suck, say, it's okay, today was just a bad day, I'll get it next time. Or say, I know I'm going to be okay. Or say, I can't wait till I get to compete again, I'm going to redeem myself. A lot of times when you start to talk to yourself or talk to other people after a bad game, there's a general feeling of fear because you don't really have that confidence or belief in yourself that the next time you compete, you're going to redeem yourself. So if you change your self-talk to say, it's okay, I'll get them next time, I believe in myself, I can't wait to get back out there and show what I can do, that's putting you in a little bit more of a confident state because you're saying that, hey, yeah, today was a bad day, but I know that the next time I go out there, I'm going to be the player that I know I can be. Tip number 2 is you want to use visualization. After a bad game, one of the main reasons that this has a negative impact on your confidence is because of the way that you see yourself in your mind. After a bad game, if you played really badly, you're going to see yourself as a bad player. If you made a bunch of mistakes, you're going to be going back over those mistakes in your head. What this does is it works to ingrain this negative self-image. We can use visualization to try and make sure that what you see in your mind is yourself succeeding. One way that you can do this is you can go back over all the mistakes you made during the game and you can visualize yourself performing them well. This doesn't mean that we are trying to pretend like the mistakes didn't happen. It's just that we're working on building a more positive self-image. It's the same idea as if you made a mistake during a game, you're probably going to then practice that same mistake in practice. We're taking the same approach to your mindset. You just want to see yourself perform that mistake, perform the skill that you made the mistake at over and over again, and you want to see yourself do it successfully because that is practicing and proving to yourself that I can do this well, and I'm making sure that I see myself do it well. Because then going into the next game, what image do you want to have in your mind in relation to that skill where you made a mistake? You want to have the image of you succeeding rather than the image of you failing and making the mistake. If you use visualization, you can make sure that you have that image of yourself succeeding. And then tip number 3 is you want to get to work. The information that you gathered from your post-performance questions needs to be applied to training. And the reason that I say get to work is because you don't want to just keep thinking about the past mistakes, keep thinking about the bad game. You want to let that go and realize that, okay, I've taken what I've needed from that game. Now it's time to work on these skills. And as you work on the skills, don't work on the skills with a negative attitude because you're thinking, gosh, I can't believe I messed this up during the game. Work on the skills thinking I'm improving myself so that next time I go out there, I'm going to compete, I'm going to play very well because I am working on building these positive skills. So that's how you can really work on maintaining your confidence following a bad game. On a game-to-game basis, you want to be applying post-performance questions. But then after a bad game, you want to follow these 3 tips. Pay attention to your self-talk, use visualization, and then get to work. Thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of success in all that you do. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We put out new videos each week on sports psychology and mental training. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you're interested in learning more about one-on-one mental performance coaching, head over to successstartswithin.com.